There's the famous quote that says, "Everybody wants to be great, but not everybody wants to put the work in." And I believe that's true, but there's a percentage that's like missing there. Is that some people do want to put in the work, but they don't know what they're working on is not the right thing. They don't understand that they're working on the wrong things to be at the level they want to be at. And so when we're talking about going to play college basketball, especially at a high level, you have some people who are a certain height or a certain body set training to be in the wrong position to be in college level. So I got my guy in Colsten Thompson today. Like he's a really great scout, really great assistant coach at the University of Alabama women's basketball side. Man, he comes in today and he breaks down position by position. So if you're a five, you're a girl and you want to play a five, this is what you need to do. The do's and don'ts of each position, all five positions. We break down each position for you to get you an understanding of what it takes to be at a high level of college basketball. So tap in today. Bring your phone out, get a notepad ready to take some notes. Okay, when you get to your position, write down the things you need to do, things you don't need to do, because it's going to help you out. Because now you have an idea what you need training to work on, what you need to avoid, stay away from, if you want to be recruited to play at a high level. So appreciate you watching. Enjoy that.
Yo, what's going on? For my Bama fans, I got you a surprise here, man. I have somebody here from women's basketball side. Um, Pretty cool guy. I heard he's like a secret sage. He got some secret sauce over there, like recruiting. So
Mhm.
hopefully we can tap into it and see what he got going on here. But what's up, man? Everything good?
Yeah, man. Just Saturday down in Tuscaloosa. The men played today, got a dub, so we up next tomorrow against Auburn, 2:00. If y'all want to come out.
Well, don't know when this is dropping, but hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully we saw you in the stands.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. I didn't know how quick your turnaround time was, so excuse me on that. I'm not expecting this to drop today. Sorry about that.
Nah, that's all good, man. But yeah, hopefully y'all have been to a game or will go be at a game. And if not, go to a game next season so y'all can see him. But yeah, that's it, man. But
Cool.
but let's
Roll
let's get
Tide.
a little quick intro. Yeah, roll tide, man. But get a quick introduction of who you are. What exactly do you do over there in Tuscaloosa?
Yeah, so in Tuscaloosa, so last year, last year I was in a little different role. Still was director of recruiting, but did a lot of creative content type stuff. So I was doing a whole bunch of Photoshop, like just doing stuff for recruiting materials, mail out stuff like that, just to try to attract players to the program and stuff. Again, I was telling you earlier, off this film, that I did a lot of training before I got into this. So ultimately that was the goal over here, is to get into a position where I could be on the court as well.
Mhm.
And work out, just be out there, be present on the court, help out in any way I can. So this year I'm director of player development and recruiting. I'm one of the four recruiters that go out, to recruit in the summer during the season. Just whenever we need to get out, one of those. So here, basically we got a recruiting coordinator. He's associate head coach, Roman Subner. He's elite recruiter, man. A big part of another reason why I came here, not just to be here, to work for the University of Alabama, where I grew up and stuff, or for a legendary coach like Christie, but Roman, he's a really good recruiter, man. So I wanted to pick up that side. Just being a, kind of a younger coach in this thing, this is year 6 for me.
Mhm.
And, I've been an assistant at Lipscomb before I came here for just 1 year, and then Louisiana Tech the year before. So, I hadn't been in it too long, but that was a part of my, my game that my craft I wanted to just get better at. So really hear him, with him. And we're just tag teaming this thing for real. Of course, everyone helps out around the staff, around the program and stuff, but just doing whatever I can to help him and take over anything I can on the recruiting side that can just help us continue the tradition that we've had the past couple of years of just getting really good kids in this program. So I do a lot with the younger kids, because you got to tap in with them early, especially nowadays with NIL and all the stuff that's just came across basketball, women's basketball. specifically. It's just been a growing part of women's sports. It's just basketball in general. So, just tapping in with those young kids early, and then just getting as many kids as we can on campus that want to be here, and that also looks like they'd be a fit for this program. So just everything general, recruiting for us. I'm just helping in any way I can, just trying to be great at it too and learn every single day.
How early do you get into recruiting? Because it's in a weird space where you start seeing like a fourth grader list and rankings and fifth graders and stuff. So how early do you guys actually like get into recruiting and looking
Yeah.
at girls?
I mean, not gonna lie. I mean, an Excel spreadsheet that has class of 2032 on it. So, I mean, I'm not necessarily saying we're recruiting that young, but like, again, we like to tap in early and get to know a kid. But we really try to figure out which ones are like legit. You're not just going to do it with everybody. You want to make sure it makes sense, and that, we start really regionally though with young kids. You want to make sure any kids that are connected to your state, Georgia, Mississippi, Florida, Tennessee, like you want to make sure you're tapping in with all of those, no matter how old they are. Like we've offered 2029s, 2030. I don't think we have any out for 2030s yet, but like you start early. Especially me though, that's what I like to do, because I'm a big relationship person. So I just like to get to know kids early, and that kind of goes back to me being a trainer. Like before I got into this, like I really enjoyed working with young kids and watching the process and just getting to know them. So that's kind of how we do it here. And that's how I do it as well. Even if I wasn't here, like I like that approach to it.
Okay, because I'm just wondering, man, because you hear about and you see posting and stuff of class of 2052 and class 2098. I'm like, come on, man. Like, how we dissecting kids in the womb and then seeing how they gonna rank it? Like,
Yeah,
it's
it's
crazy to me. It's like first
impossible.
grade.
Those lists are impossible. Like, I mean, they give you a good like a good, I don't know, starting point to it, but like it's really hard to get around and see all these kids at that age, because you really don't know who's developing, who's really going to be top 25 or top 100, whenever you're looking at kids in 6th grade or 7th grade. But it gives you a good starting point. But there's kids every year that's going to end up being really good that was nowhere to be talked about last year. So it's just part of it, man. It's crazy though.
That's kind of why I think it's weird, because when you're talking so early, they have so much more room to grow. Like, you
Mm,
can be a fifth grader and be decent at best. I'm talking about like at best, you're decent. And
yeah.
then 2 years later, you can be a whole different player. And now we're talking about you as being elite. So that's what's kind of weird for me, for the ranking and stuff to come out so early and so young, because like you could have just picked up a basketball, and then 2 years later, because you trained and you hooped and you went through the process, now you're a whole different player. So for me, that's why it's kind of weird to be so young with the like you're not even playing school ball yet. So what are we talking about? Like, that's
Yeah.
what's kind of weird for me. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think that's why I like to really just tap in with the coaches that are around that player, if or around an area that I know that have players like that might be good. But I like to get out and I like to see kids when I'm in the summers. I go over there and I watch some like really young kids, and I like, man, I'll be honest, I look for three things when I'm looking at young kids. I look for feel for the game, I look for passion, and I look for motor. Like if you have all three of those things, I'm writing your name down, and I'm gonna throw you in my little, my Excel spreadsheet or whatever you want to call it, and I'm gonna have you on my radar from here on out until one of those three things goes away. When you get older, 10th, ninth grade probably, you start to really look at
Mhm.
skill set and stuff. But through those, like, 6th grade to ninth grade, I'm like, man, if you got field motor and passion, like you got an upside and you got potential. So, you're probably going to be a kid that I want to have on my radar. I mean, because those are three things that really matter to me.
Mhm. Okay, I can see where that makes more sense, because
Yeah.
those are part of the three things you can train, especially when you're that young. But
Yep.
if you have it innately, that's a
Now
whole other thing.
that's natural. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
Like that's just you're born like that. Like if you got that, like if you obviously love the game, you got the motor and you got the passion, you got the feel. Like I mean, shoot, now we can really work. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
that's the way I do it. I think a lot of people struggle. Even I don't know, evaluate. I don't know what they all look for. So I'm like, those are I really in the very beginning I was like, what's the three things I'm picking out to try and help myself evaluate young kids? Because that's what I want to, that's what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I like to watch older kids, but I want to see you from the very beginning and watch your development. So that way I can see when you're a 10th grader, 11th grader, how's that development? If you need a little bit more work, do I, in my head, think you're going to be able to get it because of what I saw back in, you know, 7th grade? And it just
Mm-hmm.
helps me be 100% with me telling somebody, yeah, that's the one you need to go after, or we need to go
Mm-hmm.
after. So,
All right. So I said this before. Um, I think recruiting is hands down the hardest job in basketball, and I don't think I could ever do it. Like I respect it
yeah,
because I don't think my eye is trained enough to really like the thin line between like Power Five and mid major, and then mid major D2. Like those are very thin lines, and sometimes I'm like, oh, she's Power Five, or he
agreed,
can go there, and it's like
agreed.
they don't, and they I think they're D1, UAB high level. I'm like, oh, they're not. They're like D3,
Yeah, yeah,
and some of them it's obvious where it's like, oh, she has an attitude problem or grades. It's like, okay, I get that. But
yeah.
on the court,
Skill wise, yeah,
it's all these things. It's like, man, they're there.
yeah.
So what are the things for you that you realize like, okay, she's definitely Power Five. She can
No,
play for Alabama, Auburn. Oh, she's good, but she's more I don't get too regional with the schools, but like mid
yeah,
major.
I get what you're
Uh
saying.
yeah.
Mhm.
So like what do you see that separates girls at each tier and each level?
Well, I say for me personally, it really helped going from being a trainer, training kids, well, playing, being a trainer, training kids. I started off at the D2. I was there for 2 years. Then I went to Louisiana Tech. I would say that's pretty high major, like high mid major. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
competing at a high level. Then I went to Lipscomb, the solid mid major. And now I'm Power Five. So I've gotten a taste all within the last 6 years of different levels and seeing the types
Mm-hmm.
of kids at different levels. Um, so that's helped me personally because now I can see speed wise, first step, athleticism, defensively. Like those are things, just what your body can do, in my opinion, is like where the separator is. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? You could be a great shooter. You could have a great one dribble pull up, like elite, but it's going to be hard for you to play against Power 5 like SEC level kids if you don't have anything else out of that, and if you're not fast with the first step, or if you can't, switch 1 through 3 or 1 through 4 and play defense against a very athletic 3 and you're a 1. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to be
Mm-hmm.
able to show your versatility, your athleticism, your speed, and of course you can work on that when you get here, but like at this level, like you want the kids to already be that type of kid. But when they get here, you work on different details and stuff, but you need to go ahead and already have that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that way, right when you come in, because really, I mean, what we're doing is recruiting impact kids. Like you want them to come in and have an immediate impact, even though it's going to take a little time, like with development and getting used to school and college life, the transition. But we want you to already come in and be the impact, have an impact. So
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be hard if your speed ain't up to par, if you ain't got the type of strength the two guard needs. If you're 5'3" or 5'4" playing against a 6 or 5'10", 5'11" strong point guard, it's gonna be hard for you to dribble past them or to
Yeah.
shoot over them. You know what I mean? It's just things that like that. I mean, hopefully that answers that question a little bit, but that's
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of the way I see it.
Yeah. Um when you're evaluating looking at girls though. Okay, I just went to a game today. and one team had smaller guards. They're about 5'6".
Mm-hmm.
So they're quick, shifty, get downhill, they can go. Other team had bigger, not stockier, but just bigger girls. So they are more
Yeah.
physical. So you're looking at Team A and Team B of these girls. When you're looking at that set of girls, which girls do you say we can recruit them to be Power 5 girls, and why? Like, why do they fit to be Power 5 versus the other?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I think that well, obviously it depends on position wise, but like if the smaller guards have vision, if they just seem naturally gifted with vision, if they seem naturally gifted or just have great decision making, um, if they play off of 2 feet in the paint, like if they can hit an open three, like stuff that makes up for sometimes maybe having a lack of, size to match up against a bigger person. Like I think
Mm-hmm.
that the decision making part is very important. So if you're a really good decision maker, you're smart, like teams can use that all day. I mean, but what'd you say, 5'6"? I mean, 5'6" ain't bad. Like shoot,
Yeah,
that's
but versus a girl that's like 5'9",
hmm
5'10".
yeah, I mean, if the 5'10" person's doing doing the same thing that they're doing, then it gets a little bit like. But my thing is, if I'm watching, I'm like, all right, what's this kid? If they're the same age, 5'6" and 5'9", 5'10", let's say they're the same position. What are they both doing the same? And then let me compare those same tendencies to each other. And then let me see, all right, now on this other list, what is this kid doing that this kid's not doing? And then
Mm-hmm.
I'm literally gonna do a pros and cons. Do my pros outweigh the cons, versus the two, and then I'll just go from there. But like again, I say the field passion motor, like they gotta have that, especially if
Mm-hmm.
they're a smaller guard.
Yeah.
And if you got that, then I'm like, I would love to be around you every day, and I really think you could develop, especially if you got good decision making skills and your IQ's there, and you're just a gritty player. You taking
Mm-hmm.
charges, you diving after loose balls, like it's intangible stuff. Like, I don't care if you shoot and score 30. I want to see all the other stuff though, because you ain't gonna always score 30. You're not gonna always have a great shooting night. You're not always
Yeah.
gonna have the opportunities to get that many shots up to get 30. So like, what are you doing to make your team better on the other parts of it? I mean that's kind of the way I look at it. If I'm sitting there watching those types of kids.
Yeah. That's kind of what I try to tell the players when I'm training
Yeah.
is kind of you saying earlier, be an impact player.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I use different language, so I like what's your superpower? Like what's the thing
Yeah.
that you can do guaranteed on the court? So
Yeah.
the Flash is gonna be fast. Like that's just guaranteed thing. The Flash is gonna be the fastest thing no matter where he goes. And
Mm-hmm.
then when it comes to basketball, Steph's gonna shoot it. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Any court,
Right.
he's gonna be the shooter. Like he can do more, but that's a guaranteed thing. So that's where you start with.
Yeah.
And then from there, figure out what like the second, third option is. Because you want to have impact. So the
Mm-hmm.
confidence comes in knowing that you're a great shooter, but you still have impact knowing I can finish, knowing I can handle the ball, knowing I can play defense. And so I think when you're talking at that level, you probably have to have two superpowers. Like you have to be able to shoot and finish, have the elite ball handling and play great defense. But
Yep.
then still have more things to go to in your tool belt like Batman to pull out, okay, the shot ain't falling, but I can play better defense or get more assists or set better screens or whatever. So
No, exactly. It's about mastering one thing that you do really well. Master it, like you said with Curry, it's shooting. Off the catch, one dribble, just out of rhythm shooting. Honestly, is what he does really well. Like he's just a great out
mhm,
of rhythm shooter, obviously, but out of rhythm too. And so, like you know, with a guard like that, 5'6", what are you really good at? Like, have you mastered it? And is it different from everyone else? So it probably ain't just scoring 30 points. Like it's got to be, you got to dig deeper. Like, what are you really good at? And if you don't know
mhm.
your own self, your own identity, it's gonna be hard for someone to recruit you. You know what I mean? Like you got to showcase that every night.
Hey, hold on. Time out real quick. We're gonna get back to the episode. I know you're enjoying it. I know you're enjoying the show. But I need you to help me real quick and to make sure that this episode can grow, make sure this podcast and show can grow overall, and you can keep getting great guests like this. Make sure that you subscribe and follow along. So if you watch right now on YouTube, help me out by hitting the subscribe button. Go ahead and do it real quick. If you're listening in your car, chill out for a second. If you're on Apple or on Spotify, just like when you get a moment, hit the follow button, but not right now while you're driving. If you're working out or something, or you chilling in your room, then go ahead and subscribe with me. Like, help me help you, okay? But thank you for watching. I really appreciate you. I'm gonna stop interrupting. Let's get back to the episode. Thank you. Let's do this. I think it might be fun to do. Let's go run down each position, and let's say like the top tier things that position needs to have to be not just Alabama specifically, but to be of that caliber of a position. So let's start with the big. So if you're a center and she wants to get at Alabama level basketball, what are like the main core things that she needs to have to train and work on to say, okay, if I want to get a call from Coach Thompson to be recruited to play at Bama, I need to make sure I have these things.
Yeah. Oh, first, I'm always coming back to the motor, like especially for the 5 though, man. You gotta have a motor. But I think other than that, like really getting down to skill wise, like, and not even skill wise, just running the floor, rim running, just knowing. I try to be the first one down every single time. Not fouling, learning how not to foul, because we need you in the game. Because I mean, realistically, we don't have many of you. And then understanding how just understanding ball screen coverages, like, because you're gonna see it all. So go ahead and have an IQ and understand what every single coverage is and what you need to do in it. And then obviously back to basket type stuff, but I want you being patient, back to basket, catching, chinning, checking, all the C's, but obviously being able to face up a little bit. I'm not necessarily saying face up from the perimeter and drive, but like, can you face up and have, the mid-range game? Can you play off the bounce? Can you get to the rim? Nothing crazy, like literally one dribble, from the elbow, get to the rim, like something that maybe draws you a foul and gets you to the free throw line to hit free throws that you need to be really good at. And then on the perimeter, can you just handle a little bit? Like just dribble over to hand it off. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't have to be nothing crazy. Just dribble a little bit, and hand it off and just be confident whenever you're dribbling. But again, you don't have to have superior ball handling skills. Like it's, very simple. We recruited you to be, a post player, not a one. So can you do, 5 things, but also can you be versatile and, I don't know. I just think it's really good when they're young. Like again, I want to see you play the 1 through 5, like when you're in 6th grade, like understand every position. So that way, when you get to college, like maybe you've been a 5 your whole life, but you also used to be a 1 when you came off ball screen. So you understand like what a 1's doing, So that's a lot of stuff, man. So I doubt if you find a kid like that, let me know.
Yeah, I'll be calling you, man. Let you know, hey, I got somebody for you. But
yeah, exactly.
But okay, now what are like the biggest things that you see that can take away from a scholarship? Like if you do these things that's hurting you, it's taken away from the possibility of playing at this level. What are things that you've seen or that you know that can take away from that scholarship?
I would just say like just inconsistent. Like we got to be really good on our end about being consistent, like communicating wise and stuff. But I think the inconsistent, communication without, reasoning. I don't know. Like I understand, like if you're going through a lot right now, school or something, like just communicate that. So maybe showing that type of stuff. Because you want to make sure the kid wants to be here. Because you're going to be around them every day and they're going to be here around you every day. So you want to make sure, that they really, truly want to be here and no one's forcing them to be here. So that, obviously lack of motor, like you see that. And I keep coming back to that, man. That's so important to me. Like, I think it's important to all of our staff, but it's really important to me because, I mean, you're gonna be working them out all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't want them getting
Mm-hmm.
like one day they're not feeling it, and then the next day they're working really hard. You're just gonna get inconsistent, production from them. So that bad attitude. If they come on a visit and they're like rude to their parents, I mean, just stuff that you don't, stuff that ain't really like, I don't know, like that's something that might not be said by many people. That's something that means a lot to me, is just being respectful to people that have really done a lot for you. Um, that's pretty much it, man. Obviously, on the court, like if we offer you, we probably know you're gonna stay, doing what you're doing, because we're very like when we offer kids, like we really dive deep before we offer them to figure out if they're worth offering or not. So once we offer, we're pretty much like, yeah, we're coming after you because we know everything's in check.
Mm-hmm.
So we do a lot on the front end before we offer to make sure you don't run into that type of stuff.
Yeah, I think the off court stuff is one of, I want to say it's the dumbest thing to get a scholarship taken away for, because you can control
You can
most of those things.
almost all of them.
Yeah, so
Man,
I say about 8 or 9 out of 10 you can actually control.
yeah,
So for that to be a reason you get pulled, I feel like that's kind of stupid. So
yeah. Which we hadn't had that happen. That's based off of like just my
yeah,
past and what I've heard, and obviously just sitting here thinking about why would I take a scholarship away from you? Like those are things that would stand out to me on why I would think it'd be necessary.
yeah, and I try to get kids to realize, man, unless you're just the top tier of the top tier of the top tier, you can't have stupid stuff going on like that. Like you
Mm-mm.
can't be a goofball that's getting in trouble. Like Zion could afford doing that. Like everybody was gonna take Zion. Like it was
Yeah. Nah, there's certain kids
all
that
right.
you will be like, all right, well the baggage is worth it. We'll get them. We'll help.
Yeah,
We'll help them out. We'll figure it out. Let's just get them.
but that's the exception to the rule, and everybody wants to feel like they're the exception. I'm like, come on, bro. How many Zions have you seen?
Yeah.
Derrick Rose, it's like LeBron. It's like there's a reason why those guys are those guys.
No, that's true. There's not many of them. So that comes back to your point about just being humble and respecting the game, man. That's really what it is.
Yeah. So let's move on to the 4. All right. So
Or yeah,
she wants to get a scholarship. What she need to do?
I think the 4. This is me personally. I think the 4 has got to be
Mm-hmm.
your most versatile. Like give the most effort on the ground, like gritty. Like it's got to be that type of player. Like your 4's got to rebound like crazy. Like, but they got to be real versatile. Like they got to be able to shoot three. Got to be able to get to the mid range game. Got to be able to be a slasher. Got to be able to post up mismatches. Like they got to be very skilled. Like very
Mm-hmm.
skilled. And again, all these players that I'm about to like the 1 through 5 motor, so I'm gonna stop saying that. So that's a given. But yeah, so literally that's the 4.
I think the 4s that you're mentioning, they're usually about 6'1" to about 6'4",
Yep,
and they can
exactly.
do just a little bit of everything right. They don't do anything bad, and they do a little
Right,
bit of everything right.
exactly.
I love those girls with all my heart. Like I would build around them. I
Four,
appreciate them so much. And you
four is
got
hard to
two
find.
of them.
Mm-hmm.
You got 2 of them that are like that, and I love them. I love
Yeah,
watching them hoop. Like I
I
love
already
girls
know who
like
you're
that, man.
talking about.
Yeah, I man, like that's that and my point guard. If I was on the girl side, that's the main 2 positions. We have to get those 2 right. If we can get the versatile 4
Mm-hmm.
and a solid PG, y'all can have fun with the rest. Like I just need both of them 2.
Nah, I agree, man. I agree. Those are 2 important positions. 100%.
And I'm biased because I'm a guard. So like,
Yeah,
give me a good PG and one of
right.
those 4s. I
Yeah,
don't care. Y'all
you
can
can.
have fun with the rest with.
Yeah, you can win games with those.
Yeah. So the versatility,
Yep,
do a little bit of everything, and I think the underrated piece is the high IQ, because you can have the skill,
yep.
you can do it, but to have the IQ to execute the right thing at the right time, to have okay, I'm playing the 5 now, so let me maneuver in order
I
to
was
play
about to
like
say
this, or I'm
100%.
playing the
You got to know
3.
every position, but you also got to
Yeah.
know how every play works. Like you got to know the 1 through 5, like because sometimes you
Mhm.
might be a guard, like, and sometimes you might be a 5. So you got to know, you got to be very, very good at like just gathering a lot of information and keeping it and not forgetting
Yeah.
stuff. Like, just got to be always focused. Like, it's a hard position. I couldn't do it. I couldn't be a 4. Couldn't do
Nah. I think those girls are like the Draymond Green,
it.
like they're like LeBron
Yeah.
without the status of LeBron, because I don't always see those girls being the best player. They're usually like the
Yeah.
second
Right.
best player or sometimes third or whatever, but they're rarely the best player. That's why I say Draymond Green or Scottie Pippen
Yeah.
type.
Yeah. But sometimes they can step up and be your best player. Like, it's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
they're always on point when you need them to be. So you gotta have
Yeah. Any given night,
yeah.
they can go off and they'll be the one for that game. It's like, oh, she carried us through.
Yup.
Oof, thank you, because we needed you to drop the
Yeah, no,
25 you gave
exactly.
us.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think the 4 might be my favorite position to look at. When you got the girls about 6'1" and 6'4", they're long, they can be physical down low, but still handle the ball and shoot from outside.
Yup.
I
Yup.
love those girls, man. So
Yep. Like I said, you see any young ones that are heading that direction, let me know.
yeah, man. But okay, the negatives. Let's go to that side. What do you see from them that can kind of retract or say your potential borderline, and now we have to pull you back to say we thought you might have had a chance, but maybe you're not a fit for Alabama. Like, what would you see from the 4?
Oh, well, obviously, any of the things that we talked about, like the intangibles, like the grit, effort, if any of that just went away for some reason, obviously, because we're
Yeah.
recruiting you for that, or I want you for that. But then, as far as like your gameplay, like if you're just, I don't know, like this is me again. I think whatever percentage you shoot in high school, your 3-point percentage, traditionally, like if you look at it across the board statistically, like it goes down 7 to 10% the moment you step into college. So if you're shooting
Mm,
35% in high school, like you're probably walking right into being a 25% shooter just because of the transition, the speed of the game. You're having to, learn these plays. You're having to learn a lot. So your percentage is going to drop because of that. So that's something I learned a couple years back. And so I've always thought about that anytime I'm looking at percentages and stuff. I'm not very big into diving into stats on, if I'm recruiting a player, but like, a 4, I think needs to be able to have someone respect them so the floor will stretch. So, if they're not shooting at a, decently high clip from the 3-point line, that's something that's like we need you to be able to do that, or I need you to be able to do that. And then, I would probably say like if I was already recruiting you, you're great at being controlled and on balance. So, but if you just became a just all of a sudden an out of control player at that position,
hmm
like it becomes counterproductive. Even if you're giving a lot of effort, like you just gotta be controlled and balanced with all the effort and the motor and the hustle that you give to that position. Like it's all got to be under control.
hmm
So those are my things with the 4.
Yeah, I think that's actually perfect, because what we just glorified of being why the position so special. I think the shooting is questionable because you can build that back up.
Right, right.
Like we
Mhm.
can put you on a gun, put you with the coach, we can
Yeah,
build that back
yep,
up. But if you're just sloppy, it's like that's low IQ plays. That's just
yeah,
bad footwork. You might be missing a skill.
yeah.
Like those things can really hurt. So that makes a lot of sense of why that would hurt a 4. Like, oof, you're good. Next game I saw you.
You're wild.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's just natural. Like you're just naturally wild. So it's gonna be hard to like get you here and work on being under. I mean, you can get better at it, but
Yeah.
a lot of times you want the 4 to be able to already be balanced and control. You just start adding other elements to that because they need to
hmm
be very versatile. So it's gonna be a lot of like stuff going into that player.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, anything else for the 4?
Nah, I mean, just be a great free throw shooter because you probably get into the line a lot.
True, true.
Like shoot,
What about a three?
yeah. The three, I think the three's got to be like your best shooter. It's got to be your best shooter because
Really?
I feel like the two is going to be one of those players that's also handling the ball in the backcourt with you. So a lot of times that means your three is going to be the one that's already up the floor. The already is going to be coming off screens, going to be doing, all this extra stuff because I don't know, like me, I'm like, all right, my two needs to be a great ball handler too. It needs to be
Hmm.
somebody that's interchangeable that can set up the offense as well. And I want my three to be my best shooter. That's me. So that with that, like being a great shooter doesn't mean that's all you do, especially at, in the Power Five level, you got to be able to do many other things. But I think that you have to have two great things for the threes. Obviously, you got to be a great shooter, and I'm talking like you got to be a great out of rhythm shooter. 1 pound, take it to the side shot, come off balls or come off screens, whether it's staggers, pin downs, different angles, like literally like Klay Thompson does, different types of shots all the time.
Hmm.
You got to have a great one dribble pull up because a lot of times you're gonna be getting into that. And then my other thing is just a great defender. You gotta be a great defender because a lot of times these shooters buy into the fact of like they're offensive players, and like you gotta be a defender. So I think that recruiting a shooter, like you really got to make sure they're a good defender too, because you don't want to get caught up in how great they are offensively, and then they get to your school and then they're just not great defensively. Like they don't have IQ, they don't have quick lateral speed, they don't know how to wall up, they don't know how to be strong, keep a good position, stay solid, discipline, closeouts. You just want them to be the most disciplined defender that can stay in
Hmm.
front of someone no matter who they switch on to, and that can still have enough conditioning to run down the other end, go this way, and then come through an elevator, boom, shot, and hit it, and not airball it because they're not tired. You know what I mean? So they
Yeah.
got to be one of the best conditioned players. They got to be one of the best shooters, and they got to be just a very solid on ball defender.
Mm. So basically, you want your three to be a Klay Thompson 3-and-D with a little more ball handling.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great, man. Sign me up for the next one you find.
Man,
No,
I'm
I
gonna try
will
to train
say
one
we
for you.
have a player that does exactly all that, Aaliyah Nah. She's great at
Yeah, I love her, bro. Like
yeah.
her game is nice. I like her.
She's amazing. So that's literally who I was just describing. I'm like, that's the best three I've ever seen.
Oh man. Okay. You mentioned this. You about to mention this with the four.
Mhm.
What are the shooting percentages looking like? What is guaranteed these shooting percentages for us? We'll look at you for sure. These percentages ranges okay, and these don't even. I don't even know why you're looking at Alabama. Like, don't even try it. Like, what are those percentages looking
Yeah.
like?
I'm not super big on like stats, but when I am like recruiting a person that I want to be shooting the ball a lot, I would say like in high school, you need to be shooting anywhere from 40 to 45% if you're shooting a lot of threes. Obviously, if you're only getting up two threes a game, then it's going to be a little different. But like if you're, high volume shooter from the three, I'm thinking like 40 to 45%. So that way I know when you come into school, like come into college, like you're walking on campus with at least a 35% from three shooting the ball. You know what I'm saying? You're not even in college shape yet. You're not even college strength yet because, you're going to probably put on 10 pounds of muscle in your first summer here or in
Hmm.
college in general. So I'm looking at that. You're also going to lose, a little bit of fat or whatever it might be, and you're just going to be more in shape. So I'm not worried about that because you got to take in the fact of like, okay, high school, AU, this player is probably playing the whole game. They're probably playing 3, 4 games a week. You got to take in all that type of stuff with it. So that's why sometimes I don't always rely on stats, but it is a good indicator. It is a good indicator. So that 40 to 45% sweet spot for me.
Do you have a similar thing for free throws, or you just kind of take it out of here?
I haven't, but I'm glad you said that because I'm about to start like really looking at free throw percentage because I think that it is huge, man, because it really does win or lose you games. Personally, I think you should be at least, if you're shooting a good amount of free throws. I mean, you should be at least shooting 80%, like at least. Because if you're missing free throws, it's just a lack of focus. It ain't because you can't shoot the ball. It's literally all mental. So So I mean that kind of shows you too. Like you go look at these stats at the free throw line, you can tell if a player's like always locked in, maybe, or can they perform under pressure because they're sitting there for 6 seconds before they shoot and they're thinking about it. Can they perform and hit shots while they're thinking about it, while they're under pressure? Lets you know if they're clutch sometimes, in certain games. So I think free throws, they say a lot that people don't really think about. When you sit there and like just, break it down, it speaks volumes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the free throws is like if you look at it, it's black and white of telling of what a player is.
Mm-hmm.
But when you watch the film with it, it gives more color to it. So
Yeah.
like you said, if she's shooting 80%, right? And you look at it, it's like, oh, she's shooting these under pressure. Like she thrives like first through third quarter, all right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
That fourth quarter when it's pressure and it's been a tight game the whole time and it's been technical fouls and the game was heated going back and forth. She played the entire game and she had an off night field goal percentage wise, but she still knocked it down free throws.
Yeah.
And she struggled that entire game, but she made it up for it with the free throws. Like all these little things that add more context around it is like, oh, she can really shoot. Like she's locked in mentally at another level. So I think free throws are like that hidden stat that, for like you said, for a 3 or 4 shooter, you can tell a lot by them through that.
And I'll say this too: if you're a kid that's not getting a lot of shots in the game, and you got a lot of colleges sitting there on the sideline watching you, go attack the rim, get fouled, and go to the free throw line. Because a lot of times, like I sit there and I watch the form on the free throw to let me know. Like if I'm there watching that kid, and I've heard about him, I ain't seen him before. And I'm like, I want to see you, but you ain't doing nothing. Like you're not getting your shots. Get to the free throw line and show me that you can obviously attack the rim and get to the line. But like now I get to watch your form. I get to see your approach to the line, see your form. And then maybe I'll stay another 2 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just dipping and saying, I'll catch you next game because I want to go see another game. So like that's if it's not going for you, get to the line.
I try to tell players, like, especially when we start really working on this shot for real, like, you got to have a decent form. I ain't saying you got to be like Clay and have it picture perfect and the most ideal, but you have to have like certain foundational mechanics because if you get around real hoopers, we can tell. Like, even if you missed everything that night, we like, they can still shoot. Like, shooter,
for sure.
you missed everything, but we know.
Yeah, it's obviously too your confidence. Like when you're stepping up to the line, like you can tell when somebody looks rattled. You tell when somebody steps up with confidence. So tell a lot about your character too.
Yeah, let's go a little bit deeper in that free throw. Like, what are other things that you see with the free throw shooter that okay, she's about this, like she's her.
Like say that again. So like that, are you saying it helps me figure it out?
Yeah, it helps. Yeah.
So like if you're not, so a lot of times players will get up to the free throw line and sit there. Like they'll just stand there waiting for the ball. And there's still subs coming in and stuff like that. And they're just standing there. So automatically I'm like, all right, this person, like they're ready to shoot the free throw and get off the line because they're the focus right now. So if I see a player like just standing back, walking back, just taking their time, real swaggy with it, chill, like just don't go up there and just hug the free throw line and sit there and wait because you have no rhythm. So I want you to be able to walk up to the free throw line, catching the ball, then get into your form, get into your ritual, your routine or whatever. So a lot of times players are already standing up there. And And then there's the big thing with me is like your shot, like, so basically people, they don't know where to stand on the free throw line, and they do something different every time. They'll step up the free throw line, they'll put their right foot on the nail, right? If they're right-handed, right foot on the nail. The second shot, their left foot's on the nail, or they're not doing the same routine or the same approach. And I'm like it's got to be the same thing every time. A lot of players don't understand. Like, a lot of people will say, just put your right foot on the nail, on the in the very middle, and that will line you up with your shot. But that's not true. It's literally your shot path. Wherever your shot path is, that's where you need to be. So if you're Klay Thompson, and I think he comes up through the middle, right? He kind of comes through the middle. So his right foot don't need to be on the nail, because then that means his shot pass to the left of the goal. So he needs to literally get in the middle, like split the nail. Now his shot pass coming up. You know what I'm saying? So it's like these things haven't been broken down to players and stuff. So I think, and that's something so easy, like just to have the same approach every single time. But again, a lot of these players don't know that. So those are things I look for, man. Just like a lot of these kids ice themselves at the line whenever it's literally in their control. They're icing themselves.
Yeah, I kind of geek out about that shot path thing, because I tell my players that, like, I had a girl I was training, and we just restarted to really get to the free throws. And she was trying to figure out what is her shot, what is her feel. And so first I'm like, just shoot the ball. Like, how do you shoot?
Yeah.
And I think she shot more to the middle, like you said. So I was like, okay, we're going to split the nail. So nail splits you in the middle. So now the ball should go straight up into the goal. Everything should just be going forward. I don't want you like Katie wiggling around and making a circle. Like, everything should be
motion.
Exactly. So I'm glad you said that, because I do kind of nerd out about that little small little detail.
Man,
about
I'm
that.
the same way. Like, literally, I'll break down a player's whole routine, and I'll make, even from like their heel taps. Some of them, they'll dribble and their heels will come up right, left, right, left, right, left. They'll do it 6 times. I'm like, literally, I'll write that down. I'll go up to them and be like, look, your heels lift every single time you take a bounce. I was like, I want you doing that every single time, like literally from heels to bouncing, and then one other thing is, a lot of times on the second shot, every player wants to shoot it. And then right when they release, they're trying to get back on defense. So like they fall back and they don't stay up on their toes or fall forward. You can fall forward a little bit or go straight up, but never back. And so a lot of times I see that because these players want to get back on defense. They don't want to get beat. A lot of people teach their team to, like, all right, get the rebound, get it out quick, get it up the floor, try to beat the defense back. So a lot of players do that. So I kind of, sometimes I'll teach them, I'm like, all right, let's go through, and I want you to get on defense. So hold it, and basically I'll have somebody ready to get an outlet pass. And I'm going to have the free throw shooter shoot the shot, stay in it, don't fall back, and show them they have enough time to see it through, get back, and get the ball stopped. You know what I mean? So it's like, sometimes you just got to show a player that, like, it's possible. Like, you can stay in your shot the whole time, hold your follow through, hold the feet, don't fall back on your heels, and you still get back on defense. Like, so it's like, kids are just anxious, for the next play. It's like, man, focus on the shot that you're shooting now, and then focus on what's next.
That goes in line for me personally with the whole follow your shot thing. I'm not a fan of saying that, because, like, if you're a shooter, you have a good feel for your shot.
Yeah.
So when it's a miss or a make, or when it's 50-50. And so if you're preaching to follow your shot every time, that means you don't have faith in your shot.
Right.
And that means you shouldn't be shooting the ball. So the only time you really see an elite like a Clay or a Sabrina like follow their shot, they know it's off, and it's like, man, let me please hurry up and make my mistake and fix it up.
But
so I don't like the whole follow your shot thing.
Yeah, no, especially on free throws. The only rebound you getting is if it hits the back of the rim and flies right back to you, because it's gonna be hard to fight through 6 people, or is it 5? Yep. Maybe 5 people. I don't know. However many people line up on the free throw line. There's a lot of people, and you got to wait till it hits the rim. So, it's just shot, so you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, exactly. Just make the shot. Like, just make the shot, and if you know you're missing it, all right, now follow it. Besides that, man, like, just go get a bucket. Like, you don't have to be extra. So
exactly.
All right, we just nerded out for a minute.
Man, it's cool, man. Free throws are big. They're important.
Do we do the negative part about a three? Do you do that part yet?
I don't think we did. But to me, it's just like not having the things we talked about. Being undisciplined on defense, not being able to stay in front of a ball handler. Just being able to, I think another thing is like if you miss 3 shots in a row, like, are you done shooting for the night? Like, I want to see you shoot that 4th one confidently. So, like, if I see you get real down because you've missed a couple in a row and you just stop shooting, like you had 4 attempts in the first half and you finished with 4 attempts from the 3. You know what I mean? I want to see you like fight through that, fight through the misses. Show me like mentally how strong you really are. Like, can you move on to the next shot? So, and then not being if you can't finish at the rim. I mean, just finish at the rim because a lot of times they're gonna be flying past you. You're gonna have wide open lane. Can you go up against a big and get a, finish on top of them? So, just a little bit of athleticism there. But yeah.
So could you have a slasher at your 3? Like, could you do well with a slasher at your 3?
Oh, for sure, you could. You 100% could. I mean, we'll have one next year playing probably the 3 a little bit, but like, yeah, like I mean, as long as your 3 can show like they can shoot the 3 ball and hit it, like you can be a slasher and be the 3 for sure, especially if you're a good finisher. Because a lot of times, just because you're coming off screens, don't mean it's screens for a 3. Like you'd be screening to curl, screening to flare back, catch, rip. Like there's a lot of different things, screens can do, especially if you're a slasher coming off screens and you're fast and you're athletic and you can wiggle, you got a lot of wiggle to your game.
Yeah, I just want to get a help to some life to some girls who are like, man, I can't shoot the ball that well. Well, hey, if you can slash and get to the rim,
Mid range, if you got a good pull up, you gotta have good pull up now. You can't not be a good 3-point shooter or a good mid range shooter. You gotta have a little something now. But yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll be that. If somebody was Kyrie level finisher,
Oof. Yeah.
but she didn't have a midi or a 3.
Oh shoot. Oh no, man. You pushing it now. You pushing it. They might have to end up being the 4 for us. If they got all the 4 attributes, they could be the 4. As long as they're not too little.
So if she didn't have the height, she's automatically no, and she's gonna have to look for another school.
I mean, how tall is she? I mean, my thing is like, man, it's fine. Like, it's gonna be hard for anyone that's a 2 or 3 that's like smaller than 5'6", 5'5", but like even 5'7", like if you got those things, that we mentioned that a 3 needs to have, you can even be a 5'7" 3. Like you really could. You probably gotta have like you gotta be a super dog, like big dog. You gotta think, you gotta play like you 6'1". But like I still think it's capable, being that small. And I say that too because I was a smaller guard, so like I vouch for smaller guards. Like if you got that in you, like I think you can play at whatever level.
I think you can get away with smaller guards on the girl side more than you can guys.
Oh yeah, no, that's a fact, 100%.
Because I've seen too many guys who are like short for guard size, but they can play. Like they're dogs, elite skill. They can whatever you need from a guard, they can get that for you. They're just under 6 foot, so that hurts them.
Yeah.
And so on the girl side, it's different. You can make up for it more being a girl rather than being a guy.
Yeah. I think it too is because like on the men's side, you got your point guard, whatever height, but then your 2 and 3 are sometimes 6'3", like sometimes 6'4". On the women's side, it's not like that. So you're not always going to be going. Very rarely do you see a 3 on the women's side that's like 6'2" or 6'3". No, I say like 6'3". Like your bigs are usually about 6'4", 6'5". So I think that's why you can get away with it because you're not going to see every single night a 2 or 3 being 5 inches taller than you.
Yeah.
That's what men
Yeah.
they just tall, man. Like they get tall. And I don't think women they don't really grow like that. So you don't see many 6'5" guards walking around that are girls.
Nah, you get one of those. You
They're usually
maybe
posts.
every 10 years.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
usually
you
posts.
all right, okay, another timeout. Okay, look, if you got to this point, you have to be enjoying the episode. Like you have to. At this point in the episode, you're enjoying it. So help me help you. Just if you're on Apple right now and you're on your phone, okay, just take your phone, press the subscribe button. It's right there. Just do that with me. Even if on your laptop, take your mouse, boom, click over, boom, do your thing. Now you subscribe. Now you linked in because you don't want to miss the next great episode that I have. But doing stuff like this helps the episode grow, makes the show grow, and the podcast grow so I can keep getting great guests and keep doing great interviews. So if you listen on Apple or Spotify, take a second, look at your phone, press the follow button, okay? And share with a friend or two because you'll find a value in this. You want to have this conversation with your friends so they can have the same value. Now the whole basketball community can grow. All right. Thanks for listening so far. I'm gonna get out your way. Let's get back to the episode. Appreciate you. Now let's go. We're talking about guards. Let's go two guards now. Like, what are you looking for from your twos?
I would say like basically the same. This a mixture between what the 1 does and the 3 does.
Mhm.
So, but more of a put it on the floor slasher type guard. Like your 3 again, like traditionally, I mean, I would like it to be a shooter, but like your 2 needs to be 3-level scorer, like definition of 3-level scorer. Like, but doesn't have to be a tremendous 3-point shooter, but really needs to know how to handle the ball, needs to understand ball screen coverages, how to play off of them, needs to understand how and when to flow or push into transition. Um, just needs to like have played the point guard position before. You know what I'm saying? Like, just needs to do
Mhm.
that, but also needs to, be able to shoot the ball. So I would say it's just more of like got to be able to play 1 through 3. So again, like
Mhm.
a versatile player in the backcourt. I mean in the front court. I mean, however you want to say it. They just got to be basically 3-level score.
So, do you think the 4 or the 2 has to be more versatile for women's
Oh, I
college?
would say the 4 for sure. The 4.
Yeah, I kind of want to counter, but I can't. Like, I think that's because your 4 can play, depending on the skill in their body, they can play 2 through 5, really. So,
Yeah, I mean, and then if they get a rebound, because you want your guards rebounding. So, and I would consider a 4 guard. So I want my 4 to rebound. So I want her to be able to push it in transition. So basically, when you push it in
mhm.
transition, that means you're the lead guard. So you're the point guard for a minute. So
Yeah.
and a lot of times, if you push it in transition, it ain't there, then a lot of teams just kind of flow into a ball screen. So you probably coming off a ball screen as a 4. So,
Mhm.
that's why I think that they need to. But then sometimes they down there and they set a ball screen for you. So it's like they gotta be real versatile. I don't think the 2 ever has to play the 4 for real. So that's why I'm like, yeah, 4 probably.
Yeah. I think the 2 in the women's game can be a little I don't say awkward,
Mm,
but it can be sometimes just because you can have a 2 guard front where you have 2 girls that can easily play point for pretty much any other team, but because they're on the same team, they kind of like just whoever has the ball,
yeah,
that's the lead guard type of situation.
yep,
So I think for the women's game, more than the men's, you can have 2 quote unquote lead guards or 2 wings kind of running your point guard position. And that can be like the most universal situation because it's like, oh, she has the ball. All right, I'm gonna just go and run the 2.
yep,
Oh, I got the ball. I'm the one, and she can be the 2.
yep.
So I think that's where it's kind of like the awkwardness of it to where you can't really pigeonhole, not an awkward in the battle. You can't pigeonhole them in one spot to say
Like kind of
she's a 2 guard.
positionless up
Yeah.
there with the guard spots. Yeah, what that does is it speeds up your game too, and that's what I like and we like to do. Like we like to play fast. So if your 2 can do that and be comfortable with that, like it does speed your game up. You ain't having to sit there and look for the point guard. Like you can go and
Mhm.
do it yourself. get it set up. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what can separate your team. So like we said before, if you have that dual guard setup where you have the dynamic 1 and the dynamic 2 with the 6'4", post that you have at the 4
Right.
position, you're looking real versatile right there. So you
Yeah,
have
man.
the 4 gets the rebound. They can rebound outlet if they need to, or you by myself. All right, I can push it 1-1. Now you have a nasty fast break.
Man,
Like,
yeah. Yeah, if you can have all the players buying into that and having their capabilities to where they can play like that, man, you going to score like 80, 90 a game. Be a
mhm.
high scoring game for 'em. A lot of teams can't
Oh yeah,
defensively match up that quick to teams like that. So,
yeah. Especially if you got all the right pieces in place. Like, yeah, that's a nasty lineup.
yeah, man. No, it'll be all clicking if you can get that.
But the 2 guards not perfect.
Right.
So what are the downsides of the 2 that you see? Like, man, she's good, but she's missing this, or she, is doing that that's hurting her.
I think it's more of like they're not all the way like the decision making is one, being able to like make plays off of ball screens, being able to be confident, getting downhill and like being a facilitator sometimes, but understanding sometimes you got to go score. Just knowing the time and place to score the ball or to kick out. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times, like they'll just go downhill thinking score just because your two's a score. A lot of times, so however they get it, three midi or getting to the rim, they'll let's say they set up the offense, they think and score. And so it's like,
Mhm.
can you like figure out when you need to be the facilitator if you're in that position or when you need to go and score. So I think that's something big. And then just like in transition, are you pitching ahead? Are you forcing something at the rim? Like just being really good in transition at the 2, like
Mhm.
understanding, you do have another ball handler with you. So like how do you work that? Do you know where to go um in transition? A lot of times they think, just straight lines are the best thing, like wherever they got the rebound or outlet, just go. Like it's just straight lines. Sometimes it's like, man, you gotta spread the floor out. You gotta be out here. Somebody's gotta run the middle, somebody's gotta be on the other side, or you gotta be patient with the ball. Just talking about pace, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of them are just one speed, go, go, go. You gotta have
Mhm.
pace with it. Because you're a scorer, but you're also sometimes in the position to be a facilitator. So I think it's like all that, just slowing down and playing with pace. A lot of times is big.
So if she could score but doesn't have that kind of point guard feel, that could hurt her.
Mm, depends on how good your point guard is or your backup point.
Mm.
Somebody's coming off the bench. Because if they're literally you're going to be our scorer and you're going to be our 2, and you're not going to have a lot of point guard responsibilities, then it won't hurt you. So I think it just depends on what your roster looks like. If you have a solid point guard and you got another solid young one on the bench that's coming in behind her,
Mhm.
and you're just, sometimes being put in that position just because of the flow of the game, then I don't think it hurts
Yeah. Okay, gotcha. Um, Last but not least, man, I think probably both our favorite position.
you. Yeah.
Uh,
PG, the
let's
one.
get to the PG.
Yeah. So I think with the 1, just like I was saying with the 2's got to have like the best pace on the team. Like you got to have the best pace. Um, you don't necessarily have to be like the most flashy with the ball, but you got to have like 1 or 2 like go-to moves that can get you past your defender if a play breaks down. I think your ability to break down a defender is like really important for the 1. Because a lot of times you'll
Mm.
get that, we call it like a boomerang, comes back to you because somebody switched on you that can't guard you. Because a lot of times you're going to be faster than a lot of players on the floor. And you're supposed
Mhm.
to be smarter than a lot of players on the floor. So with that combined, you're going to have a lot of opportunities to go and break someone down and create. because these plays are, designed to make something happen, but a lot of times you only get 30 seconds on a shot clock. If it breaks down, you don't have anything. Like, what are you running now? You got 7 seconds on the clock. Your big's like way over there. They're not gonna make it over here in time. So you gotta boom, 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 get past them. Something simple, get past them, kick out. Play off 2, kick out, or play off 2. Mid-range shot, pull out. Go score at the rim, elevate in the air. Like, so I think that's super important for the one. Is just your ability to break down a defender and just understand what to do when a player breaks down and not be like, oh, it's chaos now. Like, you got everyone's reacting on you. Like, literally, you are controlling the tempo, the pace. This play right here, you're controlling it all. You have control of it. So what you do is how your team's gonna react. So
Yeah, the PG is I think that's probably the most crucial position because you can't really thrive if you don't have somebody to set up the offense. Like, you can have somebody to get a bucket, you can have the 3-and-D wing and the versatile 4, the power 5, but if you don't have a PG that can, coach said run this and she can't run it because she's getting turnovers or she doesn't know the play or the play breaks down like you said and she can't get a bucket or just be a playmaker, all the other positions are kind of like taking a step back now because the PG isn't fulfilling her role for the team. So I think the PG has to be the most important with their level of impact because if she's in place, not everything else is in place. If she's not, everybody looks bad.
Yeah, no, I mean, she's your extension of the head coach, or he, if you're talking men's, but also like understanding spacing is something big too, because like you got to put players in spots, like literally you're doing this. Can you handle the ball and do this with your left hand? Can you do it with your right? Like, can you be thinking about other things than handling the ball when you're getting ball pressured like crazy by a super athletic SEC guard? Like, that's hard, man. Like, trying to put everybody in place and handle, and somebody's right here on you, like freaking gnat on you, like just can't even move because you're trying to work on spacing. So if you move, you're gonna mess everybody up because everybody's trying to space off of where you're at. So you got to control the game, man. I mean, you got to be the controller.
Yeah, that PG has to be one of the most pressure situations. Because like you said, they have to be an extension of the coach. So I have to know what the coaches know, and at the same time,
you got to know
make it translate on the court.
Every play, every position.
Exactly. So I'm coaching this little rec team, and I don't run the offense.
Yeah.
Like, I got a little point guard, and I let him control the offense. I just gave him the cues to look for. So it's just 6th grade boys. So it's like, hey, if they're in 2-3, this is our offense. If they're in 3-2, this is our offense. If they're in this is our offense.
Right.
So I don't call anything for our offense. I let him dictate it because he has to start learning these things.
Right.
So I set up like it's nothing crazy, just basic stuff. So if they're in 2-3, we run in this zone offense or whatever.
Right.
So now he looks at it. I'm like, hey, we had 1 or 2 bad plays, and I'm like, hey, what defense are they running? What are we running? All right, cool.
Yeah.
And I just let him take over.
Right.
Now, anything else outside of that, I kind of like step in and do more of. But for my point guards, they have to understand these things because you make the coach's job easy because that's one less thing I have to like be 100% on. I could be 70% there, but then 100% somewhere else.
Yeah.
So the point guard has to have that mental IQ to dictate the whole flow of everything.
Yeah, and if you think about it, man, like a lot of if you look at the NBA, a lot of the head coaches used to be point guards. So I mean, and a lot of times you look at college coaching, a lot of the point guards end up going to be GAs and then get into coaching because they understand the game. Their IQ of the game's like next level compared to everyone.
Yeah, I think that's kind of why you don't, like you said, you don't see the big men do it because you don't have to have that responsibility
just big. And one position.
Yeah.
But post up, man. Like, that's it. Just post and get a rebound. Yeah. Like, it's just a desire. Like, you got to have a want at that position.
Yeah, that's why I think somebody like a Juwan Howard, what he's doing is special. Because you don't see 4 or 5 men turn out to be great coaches like that. Like, you mainly see, like you said, point guards. Every once in a while, you get a couple wings here and there, but A big?
Nah,
You an
I
assistant
mean,
coach.
I can't think of many.
I think Juwan's probably the only one, especially college level. I think that's the only one I can think of.
Yeah.
He had Patrick Ewing for a minute, but
Yeah.
Juwan's the main
He
one.
didn't last long. He didn't last long. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy,
so
man. It is cool to think about, though. Gives you an idea on
yeah,
like how smart these point guards really are.
yeah. So I think kind of goes without saying, if you have a low IQ as a point guard, there's very low shot of you making it.
Mm-hmm.
But besides that, what is something else that a one can have or not have that's hurt them from that scholarship?
Communication. Hey, you don't talk on the court. That's my one. I'll say I'm one and only right there. Like, because it's so big.
Mm.
If you can't communicate, like if you can't communicate specifically, like specific communication, like
Mm.
that's a write off real quick.
Talk about it. Let's go a little bit deeper. What do you mean by that? Specific communication.
Like instead of just saying, ball, 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 or I got or saying yeah, or yeah, I see you. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like you call actions. Call actions like if you're in the zone and you're on defense, you're in the zone, like and somebody's running to the middle, don't just say, here they come. Like say, here they come from the low left block. Like just I got middle. They're coming to you. You got middle. Like run over and bump somebody. Bump down or bump over. Or you know what I'm saying? Like just be specific in what
Mhm.
you're saying. Don't just say like a word just to be saying something. Like make it mean something. Like you're just not over there coaching, just saying random words. Like so, you got to be specific, especially as a point guard. Or say you're on offense, you coming off a ball screen, and they're blitzing you. You tell the big short roll, short roll. Don't just say roll, roll, roll. Like remind them short roll, short roll, short roll. Boom. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? We got different things we say. Like, if somebody drives and let's just say the person drives from the wing and you're in the corner on the same side. You scream pull behind. You don't just say ball. Like you're pulling behind them when they drive so they know you're behind them. Pull
Mhm.
behind, pull behind. Or if you're in the corner and somebody drove, you scream lift, not just ball. Like certain words that
Mhm.
mean a lot more than just that one, ball or yeah or here or I got you. Like like
Yeah.
it don't make sense. Like it didn't tell you nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. I think that's one step deeper because, my level, you hear a lot of people complain about, oh, players don't communicate. They don't talk on the floor.
Mhm.
And I think what you just said, like, that's the first level of like, I'm here, I got ball, all the little
Yep.
stuff like that.
Exactly.
When you're talking about higher levels, you have to, okay, lift, drift, bump down, bump up, bump, like little detailed stuff like that because you don't want to have, make the decision making as quick as possible and simple as possible.
Yeah.
So if I automatically know you said bump, am I bumping down, over?
Yeah, exactly.
How am I bumping? You say bump down, okay, bump down. Like it's
Right.
1 and
Quick.
2.
Because the flow of the game, the speed of the game is so fast. Then you got the crowd is so loud. Like it's got to be specific. It's got to be quick and
Yeah.
specific. You start drawing out sentences or something like one take too long, two, then you're not gonna catch every word of it. Like
Mhm.
so, yeah. The point guard's got to have that.
Yeah. So that's a pretty solid rundown of every position, man.
1 through 5, man. You gotta have a
I
good
think
bench. I had to have a solid bench.
yeah, man. So I think that just helped out a lot of girls. Like there's some 7th, 8th grader, 9th grader, maybe even 10th grader listening. I'm like, okay, my dream school is Alabama. I want to go over here. Or maybe I just want to play at this level.
Right.
I now have a blueprint to look at to say, okay, I'm this height, so I'm playing one of these 2, maybe 3 positions.
Mm-hmm.
I need to work on these skill sets. I need
Right.
to make sure that I'm good in these areas and I don't have these flaws.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that I kind of want to talk about with you is the social media half, because you can have the skill set and you look amazing, but how does social media help or hurt a player with their recruiting?
I mean, personally, me, if I'm just gonna say, I'm having a daughter next Friday, so I'm gonna act like I'm her dad, and I'm gonna be trying to help her get a scholarship. So this is gonna help me like think more. So first, if she's really young, let's just say 7th or 8th grade, she gets an offer. I'm not gonna post that offer because I don't want her to be looked at as that's her level, because she's so young. But a lot of times people will look at that offer and just be like, "Oh, that's her level," and then maybe other schools will look at it and not offer her because maybe that level that offered her was too low. So maybe she looks like she's not that good, or it might be too high. That this school thinks they have no chance because she's so young. So I'm not gonna. I will only post once she gets multiple offers. You're like 3 or 4 of them, boom, boom, boom. So that way it hits. It hits. And I don't want, any schools thinking like, I don't want schools to only recruit her because they see an offer. Like I want them to have seen her play, and really truly want her. So like that's why I would say like at that young age, not posting all the offers you get. Like you're still so young. Just keep it on the DL because you're still developing. You're again just so young. Now when we get into like ninth grade, 10th grade and stuff, it's a little different because then it's kind of down. People are really starting to offer kids in that class and stuff like that. So I would say, social media wise, like at that point you start posting stuff because you're really becoming the player you're going to be at that age. So that's my take on like the posting of offers and stuff. But I do think that you should use social media, especially Twitter, as your like we use it as LinkedIn is what we use for business stuff, right? Older people. I don't use it, but saying older people. I think kids need to use Twitter as their LinkedIn, and it needs to be set up for literally recruiting and basketball. Like that's it. There's no reason to have a Twitter for any other reason, for real. Not these days. Like if you're really trying to play basketball, Twitter's the way to go. Because it's going to get you out there. You can go follow as many coaches as you want. A lot of times you get a follow from a coach back that's interested in what they see on your page. Like that's when they're going to follow you back, or they've heard of you or something. So it shows you who's also interested in you. And I think too, like really utilizing the tweeting of your videos. You don't want to do it too often, but like, man, like, shoot, if you had a big tournament or something, like, post something quick. Quick though. It's not like don't throw a 3-minute video up there because a lot of people don't. They just want their attention span ain't long enough, or they don't have enough time to watch that long of a video. So it's like, do something like 30 seconds just from this quick rundown of what you did this weekend. Any stats, you know what I'm saying? Attach it to the video. Usually stats without a video though is kind of like that's cool, but how'd you get it? So I think if you're gonna post stats, post a video with it. Just so you don't waste, tweets. I guess you can't really waste tweets, you get unlimited, but you know what I'm saying. You want everything you tweet out to be value. So like the more you do something in anything you do, the less value it holds, in my opinion. Like if you hit somebody up so much, I mean, eventually they get tired of hearing from you because they're like, they hit me up all the time. Like, if you hit them up every month, you got so much to talk about, right? So the same thing with like posting your stuff. You don't want to do it too often because then it just gets, I literally just watched this yesterday. Is this not the same video I just watched yesterday? Like, split it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got a long time before you graduate. Get it out slowly, but really utilize it. And then Instagram's a little more intimate. Like I think you post your stuff on there, but a lot of times you're not going to see it unless you're really like really truly interacting with someone's page and stuff. So I think Twitter's the way to go. Instagram's more of like, hey, if you get to know this coach, like y'all need to, get on Instagram and you can see like what's really going on with your life. to that point of the differences between Twitter and Instagram. But that's kind of my take on the socials.
I think that's good, man. Do you think Twitter will stay around because it's changing and people aren't as big of fans of it? And I think that's kind of our generation thing for sure.
Yeah.
So do you think it'll stay around because the coaches are on there? So if I'm a player coming up, I have to get on Twitter because I want to go to these schools and these coaches are on there? Or will there be a shift to where Instagram might become the next thing or some new platform comes along? So do you think Twitter will stay being that number one site?
I do for right now. I really do, because they tried and they might be still doing it, but that Threads thing was supposed to be what was going to take Twitter over, because it was going to be Instagram and Twitter combined. So that's what Threads was. And Threads took off a little bit, but it wasn't nothing like Twitter. I think Twitter's just like, they've already now I think the whole verified thing kind of messed it up a little bit, taking away some value of it. But I think that Twitter, though, is very easy because literally the way the feed is set up is so different than Threads. You can retweet, you can I know you can do that with Threads and stuff, but it shows up on everyone's page. It's just been around for so long, everyone's comfortable with it. I think it's a whole comfortable thing. Like these days, people are lazy. They don't want to learn how to work a new app. And I just think the world is becoming even more like that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I just think that that's why Twitter is going to stay relevant, because no one wants to learn anything new about any other app. And this one's so easy.
Yeah. Okay. Just want to get your thoughts on that, because you know how social media is, man. We'll be here one day and gone the next, and
But I think Instagram's still going. I think it's going to stay the way it is. Like, I use Instagram for recruiting, but it's more of after I've already seen a kid, I follow them on Twitter, and I'm like, oh yeah, this kid's really good. Like, I want to go follow him on Instagram now. Like, Instagram usually my last one, because I'm like, you can really see a kid's whole life. Like, what are they doing? What's their life outside of basketball look like? And then they can do the same to you. Who is this coach that's really living a human life outside of just being a coach? Yeah. So I think it's cool, the process of it.
That makes sense. I like that. So that's a good episode, man. I think you gave so much value, man. Like, you really broke down how to get recruited. Like, that's honest when people really give in the game of how to get recruited. So
yeah, well, my
good job there, man.
I gave a lot, so it doesn't take all of that to get recruited. I'm just I'm trying to throw out as many things as I can think of. That if you don't have one of those things, maybe something else will get you recruited. That's just me, though. There's a billion other recruiters out there.
Yeah.
So,
but some people say you come from the best school. I'm not one of them people. They say you come from the best school. I'm very non-biased here.
Yeah.
So I don't have any dogs in this fight.
Yeah.
But from where I live, some people will say that A on your chest means a lot. So
it does, man. That's why I'm blessed to be here. It's a brand. We were in Spain this summer, literally in Spain, Barcelona. Like, dudes in the airport seeing our shirts, they'll say "Roll Tide." Like, I'm like, how do you even know? And then we're in the city, see somebody wearing an Alabama shirt that is not American. Like, they literally have probably never been over to America. Like, over there, I'm just like, man, that really opened my eyes to it. I'm like, Alabama's it's a brand, and so it's cool to be here, man, and working under the people. If you look at our staff, we got 4 coaches on staff that, man, 2 of them have been in it over 25 years. The other one's probably 20. Another one's 15. I'm surrounded by people that's been, if you combine all those, that's 100 years of experience in coaching. I'm just sitting here learning from it, and so that's a really cool position to be in, because obviously I want to be in this for a while. And so just again, like we talked about, knowing your process, and it's going to take a minute to get to where you want, but you're around a lot of people now that have like soaked up so many years of knowledge, been through where you've been, that you're going through right now, just to understand, like, everyone's race is different and it's going to take a lot longer than you want it to. But I've already told myself that. I finally came to the sense when I first got into this, how long it's going to really take for you to move up in this thing. So I'm just, I'm blessed to be around good people that, solid coaching tree that I'm on, and just understanding how this business works is the biggest part of it.
Well, yeah, man, you so young, so you got so many years ahead of you.
I hope so, man. Pray to God I stay healthy.
Yeah. And we talked about how you're going to be a Auburn Tiger coach one day.
No. We did not talk about that. No. I grew up, man. There was one person in my house that loved Auburn. That's my little brother. I think he's an Alabama fan now. So man, I grew up Alabama, Roll Tide.
All right, man. But I'm just saying, man. I told you, that might be the first look. So I'm just saying,
man. It's going so yeah. The world gonna have to make a big shift before that happens. Nah, man. I'm again, basketball is basketball, man. I'm just, and coaching's coaching. I just, I'm blessed to be in this profession, be able to go to work, go in the mornings and work out, get my lift in, get ready, be in the office all day, go work out players and have practice, and then come home to my wife. Like, sometimes I complain about stress and stuff, but I'm like, man, shoot, this is what I've always wanted to do, and I'm doing it. At a place that's like, up there on my list. Like, I prayed for this opportunity, so it's just cool to see the blessings.
Yeah, I know how you feel, man, but I'm excited for you, man. This was a good talk. You got a lot of future ahead of you, man. So excited to see where you go, how the team grows and moves, and we'll stay in touch because this was a good talk, man. I think this helped a lot of players out. So.
Man, yeah, no, I hope so. I really do. And just let me know next time you come to a game, man. We'll have to get you a ticket because I hate that you're having to pay for them. Oop, I'll put you on my pass list.
Yeah, it's all good, man. I appreciate it. Anything else you want to leave the people with before we get out of here?
Nah, man, not really. I just for players and coaches, like, I think basketball kind of is just a way of life, and I've met so many people through it. So it's like, and there's been a lot of places I've been at that I was just looking for the next opportunity, and I wasn't focused on where I was, and I wasn't making the most of relationships there. And then I'm gone now, and it's like, man, you reach back out to them, man, I miss you. Like, you just didn't take enough time to like realize the people you were with. Sometimes it's only just for that moment. Obviously they stick around for your whole life, but like, just being in the moment, the people you're around, just, really, really enjoying that time with them, because, everyone moves on, everyone does different things, gets new jobs, gets new gets their family, moves around, and just does all this other stuff. But like, just staying in the moment, staying where you're at, and being where your feet are. I think that's really important. Just knowing, like, your process or your plans are probably a little different than what they're gonna work out to be in like. So that's pretty much all I got.
Yeah, that's good, man. Well, if you guys want to get some more game from him and watch his journey as a father, as a coach, you can follow him on social media.
Yeah,
I have the links and stuff below. If you want to get recruited, go to his Twitter first, post a video, post the stats.
Follow.
Make sure you
follow.
Yeah, follow. Okay, get you guys out. First, go in the gym and train. Get good enough, and then follow him on social media.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
After you follow him, post the stats in the video. Okay, and then do that on a regular. Then you get on the radar. He follows you back. Now you kind of like, okay,
yeah.
Now you're in the pool, get some traction. Then you get a couple reach outs here and there. You see the Alabama on the sideline one game, you probably in there. Okay. Not a guarantee, but I'm just giving you guys some help. Now you get the Instagram follow.
Yeah, you in. Hey. You in. Let's just hope there ain't no unfollowing.
Yeah, if you get the unfollow, then I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, me
I
too.
try to help you out, ladies.
No, I don't usually do that. Now I'm not one of those guys that unfollows to follow. Like if I follow you, it's pretty much all right. We in. We like this for the rest of our
Yeah,
life.
so I just gave you like a very small synopsis, a small rundown of how to get recruited to play Alabama basketball. Okay, so you're welcome. I should charge just for that piece right there because that was amazing. You know, get the whole interview, just get that last 30 seconds I did right there.
Yeah,
That's it.
5-step process.
Nah, this has been fun, man. So follow him on social media. Let him know how great he was. Tell him how much you appreciate the game because I don't know a lot of coaches that sit here and give you position by position rundown of how to get a scholarship. They talk about all these things and it's very loose and very vague. He gave you multiple areas, multiple things, the do's and don'ts of how to get a scholarship. So DM him, go to a game, but like, man, thank you. I'm focused now. I know what to work on. Roll Tide. I'm in there. So do that for me. Follow him. If you would like to really show some love to this podcast, though, subscribe. So if you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. It's right there. If you're on Spotify and Apple, all the other good stuff, hit the follow button. That'll be amazing because I can get more coaches like him to give even more game of how to get recruited. Stuff for parents. Like I got a lot of stuff I can do with y'all, but it works a lot better if you subscribe. Okay, so just subscribe. And then follow me on social media. You don't have to. I'd rather you subscribe. Okay, just do that. BeBall Jones, that's BeBall Jones everywhere. Just Google it, type it in. I should be there. And that's it. Anything you guys want to say before we get out of here?
Nah, y'all. BeBall Jones lit. Follow him. And Roll Tide.
I'm all right, man. Hey, y'all heard him, man. So that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. See you next week.